I think I'm prepared. It's hard to know how prepared that I am until our flight leaves the ground. And then whatever I have, whatever knowledge I have is what I have, and God will use that. So I think I'm ready to go, but there's always thoughts like, oh, maybe I didn't do this, maybe I didn't do that, but I think I'm prepared.
I feel pretty prepared. I think the staff were really helpful in preparing us for everything that we needed to do, whether it be musically or just learning how to share from stage. I think as a team, I think we feel prepared. Maybe not completely ready, and it hasn't really settled in our minds that we're leaving, but I think we are prepared to do the work that God has called us to do.
So my hope is that we get to Honduras and we work with the YFC, and the YFC becomes just a part of our team. It's just the 10 of us and however many of them, we just become one big team, and we get along really well, and that through it all we learn more about our relationship with God through them and with them, and we're able to encourage the YFC and encourage each other, and I know that they will encourage us. So I guess those are my hopes.
I think one of the biggest hopes I have for this trip is that not only will we be able to share the gospel with the people of Colombia, but that each and every one of us as members of this team, that we can understand our own need for Jesus too, because I think it's one thing to share it with people, but it's also another thing to share it and know that you yourself also need Jesus.
Yeah, so I think some of the hardest things for me to do are communicating like specific things. I wish I just had like, okay, whatever in my brain right now, I need it to be in your brain right now because my words aren't working with me. So trusting in God and relying in God on that, knowing that things will get across. Maybe not to how I want them to get across, like not to that level how I want them to get across, but they'll get across. And that God will use my words, or maybe not even use my words, but somehow communication. That's something I definitely have to rely on God for.
I think a big part for me is that I'll be sound teching for this team, and that's something that I'm not very used to doing since I've only really been a keyboardist and maybe a bassist too with CTI, but I think this is definitely a way that God is teaching me humility in my leadership, and knowing that, you know, like I don't always have it together and I'm not the greatest at what I do, but it's learning to serve in the role that God has put me in. And knowing that that's what God has called me to do.
Well, first, I think praying for physical health is always helpful. It just makes it go so much smoother if we're all healthy. But I think more than anything, pray that we all take away a better understanding of the gospel, and we learn to love each other, just as Christ has first loved us.
I think first of all, just praying for safe travels, that's always one thing. But I think my biggest prayer request for all of us as a team is that we collectively would be able to rely on God together. And I don't want this to be an experience where we think that we can accomplish this by ourselves, but that God would put us in a place where we need to rely on Him every single day.